Beat the clock time. There we go. All right. We're live, streaming and recording, and it is almost, I'm pretty good timing. I'm gonna stop talking now.
Well, it's okay. And this is being preserved for posterity, and everybody's able to hear this. But I have a passion for not starting early. So another 4 seconds. Let's see what happens.
Here's today's God Call with Reverend Bill.
Here is a wonderful quote. Whatever you dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. And in addition to being a wonderful quote, it's a great idea. If there's something that you're wanting to do, get started. And get started immediately. Because the longer you wait, the longer you will have gone not doing it, and the more time that will have passed without it. So right now, begin it.
Consider yourself at home. Consider yourself one of the family. We've taken to you so strong. It's clear we're gonna get along. Consider yourself well in. Consider yourself part of the furniture. There isn't a lot to spare. Who cares? Whatever we got, we share. If it's a chance to be, we should see some odder days. Empty larder days, why grouse? Oh, it's a chance to meet somebody to foot the bill. Then the drinks are on the house. Consider yourself our mate. We don't want to have no fuss. For after some consideration, we can stay. Consider yourself one of us. Nobody tries to be la-di-da and uppity. There's a cup of tea for all. Only it's wise to be handy with a rolling pin. When the landlord comes you call. Consider yourself our mate. We don't want to have no fuss. For after some consideration we can stay. Consider yourself one of us.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, everybody who is here. Good morning, good morning, good morning, New Thought Philadelphia. What a flashback I get from that. I was in 8th grade, and that was the 8th grade musical that we did. So I heard that song sung by middle schoolers a lot. We are on Zoom this morning. It is the last Sunday in July, middle of the summer. We're coming up on the cross-quarter day, which is halfway between the summer solstice and the fall equinox, which happens to fall on the 1st of August. It is the least important cross-quarter day as far as I'm concerned because everyone's distracted because it's summertime. But anyway, enjoy the 1st of August when it comes along. You know the rules on Zoom. Go ahead and keep yourself muted, except when we're sharing. And let's do that sharing thing now. Go ahead and unmute, and you can repeat after me. I open myself to love.
I open myself to love.
I open myself to joy.
I open myself to joy.
I am aware of the love surrounding me right now.
I am aware of the love surrounding me right now.
And I invite in the good.
And I invite in the good.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Okay, quick finger on the mute button one more time as I remind you that New Thought Philadelphia is an open and loving community of spiritual adventurers, welcoming each person to experience their divine nature in an empowering space of unconditional love. Whatever path you've been on, whatever brought you to our Zoom today, wherever you're heading next, we've been expecting you. And welcome home. There's not a whole lot in the way of requirements for participating in this particular community. There is one thing that we have in common, which is that we believe there's one power, love, intelligence, or force that creates everything, including each of us, and that we're each using that same power, love, intelligence, or force to create our lives according to our beliefs. really simple to say, a little bit more difficult to live. And we'll get into that a little bit more as we go through the celebration. And if you want to shorten that down even further, you can do it to the size that fits on a license plate frame that says, "Your new life begins with a new thought." If you have extra electronic devices that you don't need to use for the next hour or so, go ahead and put them on shush. I'm reminding myself that I have not shushed my devices yet. And they all tend to talk at the same time because I've got the watch that talks to the phone, that talks to the computer, that talks to, anyway. There's one button that'll tell them all to shut up until the end of the celebration. So whatever it is that you do, go ahead and do that. As I reiterate that I am Bill Marcioni, the spiritual director at New Thought Philadelphia. Our music today, coming from Palm Springs, California, is our friend Jeffrey Lesser. Thank you. It's so wonderful to have you here. And our practitioners for the celebration today are Jesus Baez, RScP, who's going to lead us in a meditation in a little bit. And right now, Joe Catanzaro, RScP, is going to open us the way we open everything, which is with a practical prayer.
Good morning. I think the unmute button worked. Bill just said it all, but I'll say it again. There is only one power, one love, one intelligence, one force that we have all, each and every one of us, come from. Connected like the stars in the sky, the drops of water in the ocean. We don't even realize how closely we are connected. And it's made that way. We're not supposed to exactly. That gives us our spiritual experience. But we come together today to remember, to remind ourselves, to refresh and renew, and to celebrate it. So for all of the love and the joy and the harmony and the peace and the connection and the insight and inspiration and just pure fun that we have every week at New Thought Philadelphia, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for everyone here, for everything they bring and share, and for the wonderful, happy noise that we make, the happy vibrations that we make, the love that unfolds and then just flows out to the rest of the world. For all of that, for each one here, I'm grateful. And so I claim all this good for each of us. I allow it, I accept it, and I gratefully release my word to the law that always says yes. And so it is.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much. And the reason that we do a prayer is because it does something. It changes the experience of life that we're having. So we get to kind of share the way that prayer has been working in our lives recently. I have been aware myself of the blessings that are continuing as I open myself to good. It sort of shows up in unexpected ways. So I got a quick shout out to Nia, who on Father's Day got Father's Day socks for the fathers in the group, and they wound up getting into my possession when I got back from Unity Village last weekend. And today we are enabling my daughter to come over and work here because she's more comfortable doing that. And part of Dina's enabling is to turn the air conditioning down because Tori likes that. But it's really cold. So I'm wearing the socks now. They're great. So the pieces are all fitting together delightfully. If you have a prayer work story, go ahead and wave your hand. I know Breen is going to do that because I heard this one unfolding. Go ahead, Breen.
Thank you, Bill. So the other day, it just felt like it was getting warmer and warmer and warmer in the house. And I checked, and the air conditioner was running, but there was no hot air coming out of it. I mean, cold air. It was just air, and it was getting hotter and hotter. It was thankfully not a 100-degree day. And we had board meeting that night, and I told everybody what was happening. And so I said just a prayer. I had to walk the dogs, and then I got back. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take a look and see. And I thought it might be the capacitor because it's gone out before, and I ordered a couple extra ones. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to fix the capacitor and everything's going to be great. But then I had to find the capacitor. So that was a prayer work story inside a prayer work story because I wasn't sure where I put it. So just open to finding it. And then I found it, went out, a couple of flashlights, a couple of screwdrivers, and a nut driver. Bada boom, bada bing. 20 minutes later, cold air is flowing out of the air conditioner and all is well. And it's weird. I'm just very grateful that I know how to do this kind of stuff. Not bragging, just like sometimes I'm like, how do I know this stuff? Sometimes like I just know how to fix the AC. So grateful for that.
Thank you, Breen. Yeah, when I was living in Florida, it was 4th of July weekend, and the guy who I was working with came in and then said that his air conditioning had gone out. And so they knew they needed to get it repaired. And he turned to his wife and he said, I don't know, are we the sort of people who can live in South Florida and have the air conditioner repaired on 4th of July weekend and send our daughter to college? Worth thinking about. Anybody else got something that you'd like to share? All right. Keep yourself tuned up and see where those wonderful stories are appearing. We're now going to do the announcements. If you have a kazoo on hand, go ahead and kazoo up as we welcome in Karen Judd with the announcements.
This cross-quarter information is on our website at newthoughtphilly.org. Sign up there for weekly e-newsletters so we can keep in touch. We host 15-minute meditations on Zoom twice a day. If you haven't taken part lately, Zoom in this week. They're inspiring, fun, and quick. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings this week. There's also will be on Insight Timer Live. The Practical Prayer Podcast is Healing and Medicine. Listen wherever you get your podcasts. Join in behind the scenes at the live recording session on Monday at 1 p.m. on the New Thought Media Network. There is still time to join the summer book study class, This Thing Called You, the most heartfelt book by Ernest Holmes, be held on Mondays on Zoom at 7 p.m., just $25 for single sessions. No experience needed. The personal practitioner course, beginning this fall, will boost your spiritual practice to the next level. Classes will be on Tuesday afternoons. Contact Reverend Bill to see what you need to do to be ready. There is no obligation to continue to professional training in year 2. Tune out the fear. Tune in the vision. For 100 days until the election, we are cultivating a special mindfulness practice to raise the vibration for all involved. To take part, text join and then go to 470-784-0250. And then following the subscription, like and share the social media on Instagram, Facebook, Insight Timer, and YouTube. And join the 1,866 spiritual venturers on our group at meetup.com. We are always grateful for your financial support. You can make a tax-deductible donation by Zelle, Cash App, check, PayPal, Venmo, credit, or debit card. There will be a memorial celebration for the life of Carolyn Nixon tomorrow at noon. You're invited to join us in this very Zoom room. And please wear a tie-dye shirt if you can. Thank you to the team that makes our celebrations work and has fun doing it. We'll get together before the celebration to put the pieces in order. To join, contact our volunteer coordinator. Now, next Sunday is on Zoom with the Newness Now. Reverend Bill invites us to release the grip that the past has on our expectations for the future, to invite unprecedented changes in our lives. And live music by Sonic Yogi. The practitioners are available for professional sessions by appointment. After the celebration, Joe is available for a quick miracle in a minute prayer. We leave the Zoom meeting open after the celebration for casual conversation. And thus are the announcements for today.
Thus they are. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, thank you. And when we get together in person, we have a special gift, a little set of flashlight and a pen with the New Thought Philly inscription on it as a reminder that you are creating your own life and also you are shining that light. We also have a blessing and a special welcome for people who are joining us for the first time. Everybody whose name and or picture is on camera now, I recognize you. We've either seen Samsung SM A146U or somebody else, coincidentally, with a Samsung SM A146U device on the meditations this week. And if that's you, then it is wonderful to see you again. So let us all make a big welcome. We're going to rub our hands together so we can feel the love, feel the warmth. We're going to send that out to the new people and to everybody who is here. You are the bright light of God's love. Thank you for shining the light and sharing the love with us today. We are so, so grateful. As Jeff sings the next song for us, go into gallery view or swipe amongst the images that you see on your device so we can make eye contact with the people we're in community with, because these are the eyes of God. And that's not just the ones that you're looking into, it's the ones you're looking with. Jeff?
Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. If I had a day that I could give you, I'd give to you a day just like today. If I had a song that I could sing for you, I'd sing a song to make you feel this way. If I had a tale that I could tell you, I'd tell a tale sure to make you smile. If I had a wish that I could wish for you, I'd make a wish for sunshine all the while. Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. Sunshine almost all the time makes me high. Sunshine almost always
Thank you, thank you. And another flashback, that one was to high school, so it's possible that the music today is going to go through my entire life in sequence. I guess we'll see. We're going to light the flames of faith, and Christine is going to read for us today.
We perform the ceremony to acknowledge that all people and all faiths come from one power, love, intelligence, which we call spirit or God. We honor the richness that comes from our shared diversity and bless the interwoven energy of the divine, feminine, and masculine. We light the first candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for the earth-based traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous people, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. As we light the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone and any place you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love.
Blessed be. The reading today comes from the Ernest Holmes book, Thoughts Are Things, and the reader is Jane.
Good morning. So the title of the reading is called Physical Perfection. Your body is a temple of the living spirit. It is spiritual substance. Since the Spirit of God has entered into your being, your life is spiritual. The Supreme Being, ever present within you, has the power to make all things new. Say, I know that the perfect life of God is in and through me in every part of my being. As the sun dissolves the mist, so my acceptance of life dissolves all pain and discord. It remolds and recreates my body after the likeness of the divine pattern which exists in the mind of God. Even now, the living spirit is flowing through me. I open wide the doorway of my consciousness to its influx. I permit my physical body to receive the flow of spirit in every action, function, cell, and organ. I know that my whole being manifests the life, love, peace, harmony, strength, and joy of the spirit which indwells me, which is incarnated in me, which is my entire being. I realize that all the power and presence there is clothes me in its eternal embrace, that the spirit forever imparts its life to me. I know that the spirit within me is my strength and power.
In a far-off land, there lived a beautiful butterfly in a kingdom full of blossom-covered trees. Winding through this paradise, a river danced along and played with the constant summer breeze. The butterfly found a tiny branch by the riverside and watched the waters rushing who knows where. carefully he's sheltered from the power of the breeze, for surely it could toss him through the air. I'm a butterfly, he said, trivial and small, and in the greater scheme of things, I don't mean much at all. So I'll flap my wings to stretch myself and just enjoy the view. I'm a butterfly, what more can I do? One afternoon the butterfly asked the river, Madam, what makes you hurry so? What splendid destinations are you rippling towards? Where, oh, where do you go? The river said, I'm headed for the ocean, and the summer breeze inspires me to race. My friend, you'd love the ocean, it's remarkable to see. Won't you join our friendly chase? I'm a butterfly, he said, trivial and small, and in the greater scheme of things, I don't mean much at all. So I'll flap my wings to stretch myself and just enjoy the view. I'm a butterfly, what more can I do? So the butterfly, he dreamed of the ocean. He longed to flutter high above the sea. But there are dangers in the sky for a tiny butterfly. So from his branch he asked the question of the breeze, what makes you chase the river towards the ocean? And the breeze told him the most amazing thing. I'm simply made up of the currents in the air that start from the movement of your wing, your tiny wing. You're a butterfly, my friend, powerful and strong, and I'm grateful for the way you've always hurried me along. When you flap your wings to stretch yourself, it might seem small to you, but you change the world with everything you do. So he stretched his wings and took off from the safety of his tree. And the butterfly finally saw the sea.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Wonderful, wonderful. I am going to tell you something that is not exactly brand new, and that is that this New Thought teaching is pretty simple. In fact, it is very, very simple. When it comes down to the numbers of it, there's one core principle, one core idea, and that's the idea of oneness or unity, that there is only one power and presence, one love, one source, one intelligence, one essence. And that doesn't matter how we describe it. It's spirit, it's God, it's nature, it's the Big Bang. Whatever our creation story is, it is that one creative power that has been creating everything since the very beginning of time, including each of us. So that's basically the core idea, and everything in the teaching unfolds from that. Yes, there is some nuance. There is some subtlety in the way that it applies in our lives, but that's the one core idea. When it comes to our technique for prayer, practical prayer, or spiritual mind treatment, an effective prayer that actually creates a change in the experience of life that we're having, and we've been talking about this as well, it's 5 steps. 5 very simple, easy to understand steps, and we've gone over those in detail in other places. You can certainly still find those. There are 5 steps in a practical prayer. And if something goes wrong with our belief in the midst of a prayer, we can add another 2 steps in, but that's all we do. Totes up to 7 steps that are in there. There's a story that when Ernest Holmes studied with Emma Curtis Hopkins, she was living in Chicago, and he went to visit her. She had retired. She wasn't taking any more students, and he made an appointment to go over and just to visit her. And when he came in, she started teaching. She started talking. She gave him lesson 1 and took an hour. And then she said, "See you next week." And he came back, and that went on for 12 weeks. Because through all of the work that Emma Curtis Hopkins did as the teacher of teachers, as the vector that was a common point of all of the various New Thought teachings, whether it's Ernest Holmes and religious science, or Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, who founded Unity, or Nona Brooks and Melinda Kramer, who were instrumental in divine science, and all of the other people who were working on creating and understanding this New Thought principle. Emma Curtis Hopkins had 12 lessons. It's all summed up in 12 lessons. There's lots of books, there's lots of stuff that's been written down, but it was 12 lessons. And there are no more lessons. If you know anybody who's in a 12-step program and they get started in a 12-step program and they give up drinking or drugging or whatever it is that they're doing, or codependence, or whatever their particular flavor is, you work the 12 steps. And once somebody has gone through the 12 steps, there's not another 12. There's not a volume 2 of the 12 steps. What happens is you get to do it again. It's not a one and done. And that's the same thing with New Thought, is when we get into this teaching, when we get into this philosophy, it's really simple. It is basic to explain. It is relatively easy to understand. There are steps that we can take to get into the experience of it and to prove that it works, and to dip our toe and to get started with it. And it works. And we get started in the Beyond Limits class and get to a spiritual understanding of how we're creating the experience of our life. And when we're finished with that, we get a certificate. And then perhaps we can move on to an advanced class, self-mastery or spiritual practices or something else. It's the same lessons. We're studying exactly the same thing again. There's no more lessons. There is not an inner circle where you get to go through and qualify as an apprentice, and then you're going to start learning the deeper secrets later on. It's all laid out right in the very beginning. And it's all based on the fact that there is one power, one presence, one love, and it shares itself as everything. So all of the good that exists anywhere exists everywhere, and we already have access to it right now and all the time. And the reason that we go through the studies, the reason that we go through the process of the Beyond Limits basic foundational class, of the intermediate classes, and then into practitioner studies, which is an even deeper dive into exactly the same thing, becoming more fully aware of the truth of who and what we are, so that we can embody and embrace and accept and be that bright light of love that we are in a way that's unimpeded. That's not being challenged. And my personal experience, the same thing has gone on as I've gone through my ministerial training and then been involved in teaching the teaching. And then now I'm involved with sharing with other leaders of the New Thought movement from all sorts of different organizations. It's the same thing in a spiral over and over and over again. And it's not a repeat. It's the same idea happening at a different and hopefully more profound level. And the same thing is available to all of us. And the reason that I bring this up is because the ability to go into and to deepen into what this teaching is really powerful. The book that we're studying this summer is this thing called You. And I have described this as a very simple, very profound book. And not just in this one little book that Ernest Holmes wrote, but in almost everything that he writes in the book, he's summing up the teaching and giving us another perspective, another way of understanding how this is working. On page 3, he writes, "You belong to the universe in which you live. You are one with the creative genius back of this vast array of ceaseless motion, this original flow of life. You are as much a part of it as the sun, the earth, and the air. There is something in you telling you this, like a voice echoing from some mountaintop of inward vision, like a light whose origin no man has seen, like an impulse welling up from an invisible source. Your soul belongs to the universe. Your mind is an outlet through which the creative intelligence of the universe seeks fulfillment. That is beautiful. That is powerful. That is true. And he continues to point out through the rest of the chapter and elsewhere in the book the same sorts of things. Every man is a doorway, as Emerson said, through which the infinite passes to the finite, through which God becomes man, through which the universal becomes individual. You are to believe with utmost simplicity and with complete faith that there is a pattern of your being or a real spirit of you, which is as eternal as God, as indestructible as reality, and as changeless as truth. This pattern is seeking to manifest through you. Back of all of this, the will and purpose of the universe, all the irresistible laws of being. There is one power and presence, one love, one source that shares itself as all of its creation, and that includes each of us. And, as has been pointed out from time to time, that everything does not include everything except the 3 feet around you. If it's true anywhere, it's true everywhere, and it's true of each of us. So as we let go of our doubt and of our disbelief, as we open ourselves up to the awareness of that good that's available, we get filled and fed. There's a story, and it actually, I'd heard the story before, but it showed up again in the current issue of New Thought magazine. It's written by my friend, Reverend George Harris. And it's the story about the person who has is able to have an interchange with God and wants to know about the difference between heaven and hell. And God says, well, I'll show you. And God takes this individual to a room where there's lots and lots of people, and there's a huge pot of delicious stew in the midst of them. And each of the people has a spoon with a very long handle. And they are all completely miserable and malnourished because the spoons are too long for them to dip into the pot and then reach their mouths. So they're all going hungry. They are all in complete misery. And God says, this is hell. This is hell. And takes the guy to another room, and the room looks exactly the same. It's a bunch of people sitting around, big pot of stew, the same long handles, but everybody is looking very happy, very peaceful, and very well fed. And God says, this is heaven. And the guy says, well, what's the difference? And God points out, in this place, they've learned to feed each other. They've learned to spoon up the stew and feed each other. We hear from time to time, especially as people are disappearing from the Sunday celebrations at New Thought Philadelphia, I'm just not feeling fed by the New Thought teaching. I'm not just not feeling fed by the group. And I understand, because as my friend Reverend Ian Taylor once pointed out to me, the minister does the same talk 52 different ways every year. So it's one core idea, 5 steps in the practical prayer, maybe 7, 12 lessons that Emma came up with. And it's a spiral. We're going to go over the same stuff over and over again. And yeah, if you're not feeling fed, then it's probably because you're having you're making the same meal out of those ingredients one more time. The New Thought principles, as far as I am concerned, are very helpful to learn, very powerful to use. They're transformational to live. And the key to being fed is learning how to use those same resources, that same nourishment, to feed others. And we can do that by learning how to teach classes. We can learn that by understanding how we can share the teaching. If you have found yourself in a group of colleagues or work people or at the grocery store, and the opportunity comes up to talk about your spiritual practice or your beliefs or your awareness, as somebody's giving you, or in many cases, shoving their views upon you, notice how you respond to that. And it's not like there's a right answer and a wrong answer. Just notice what's going on. Do I want to engage and explain to somebody what my spiritual practice is? Do I want to say, yeah, that's an interesting notion about how you think the world works, and I think there's a different way to look at it. And it's not like you have to tell people what it is that you believe. You don't have to proselytize. That's not what we're about. But it's worth noticing whether or not you're holding back. If you're taking what you have found to be this very simple, very transformational teaching and withholding it from other people because it seems like it's too complicated to bring up to them. This is the same creative process, the same principle that is taught by every spiritual practice and every religion. It is all dressed up differently in the guise of prophets and stories and scripture and ritual and things that you have to do, that you are commanded to do, things that you are forbidden to do and commanded not to do. At the core and the essence of it, it's all the same. We are following exactly the same guidance that's offered up by all of the other religions, and we're simply acknowledging that we are part of the creative process rather than subject to the creative process that somebody else is deciding. The whole thing is a spiral, and I've described spiritual spirals before. The spirals that we have that are going on are Sundays, where we get together every week and we are able to connect in community and share the stories and enjoy the music and have the readings and consider something new and be uplifted and refreshed and connect in community and then go on about our week. And those are wonderful. And for people who are just involved in the Sunday celebration, that's great. And if you're not feeling fed, then instead of just stop and come into the Sunday celebrations, maybe you want to add something else in. Maybe there's a way to get involved in a class. We've got a couple of them that are going on now and a few more that are getting involved. Or a small group. There are several small groups. Reen had mentioned earlier the board meeting that we had. And it can seem completely dry like a piece of toast with no butter on it to get together and discuss the business of a nonprofit organization like New Thought Philadelphia. But we start all of the meetings with the connection exercise. We do what we call current realities, which is where each person in the group takes turns following a prompt, chosen at random. It's not really, random doesn't exist in the universe. So following a prompt and sharing what's going on for me in my life right now. And it's not just about talking, it's about getting to know the people who we're with, about being able to connect. And that connection is crucial, especially because this is a group of people who we have a common awareness of that very simple idea of oneness. So when we get into those connections, we're able to support each other as well. And something wonderful that I have seen happening on our daily meditations is we get together and we talk about what's going on for the various people who are in the group, and then we do a meditation based on that. And it warms my heart to see that some of the people in the group are hearing the stories from other people in the group and are reaching out to them saying, let me get your contact information. Let me share with you and be present with you and connect with you in a way that goes beyond what we can do in this 10 or 15 minutes that's on the way. And there are a couple of folks who are in the celebration here today who are watching right now who've been doing that over the course of the last week. Somebody who's dealing with a situation and somebody else who's been able to be present in that situation. I'm not calling out names because it's your business. If you want to mention yourself, then you can. And that's about being fed. And being fed is not the person who's necessarily receiving whatever it is that's going on. It's about being involved in that process, being involved in that connection. So I get fed in a lot of different ways. I love the Sunday celebrations. I love the group that we get together with. I love getting together at 9:30 as we do our run through and our preparation, because it is the same group and the same idea, but it's much more casual and there's nothing that we have to do. So we're working out what we're going to say, what we're going to do, and who we're going to be together. It's an opportunity to connect and be in preparation. Classes are another wonderful opportunity. In all of the classes, we do some sharing. What's going on for you? And if it's class materials, is what is the class material meant to you, or what happens to be going on in your life? When we do a class in New Thought Principles, and the whole idea in New Thought Principles is that we're changing our lives, the stories that come up are the ways that our lives are changing. I want to hear about your life. I want to know about what's going on for you. I want to know what's resonating for you. Our Power of Eight group is on hold, on a hiatus for the summer, but that was one opportunity to get together and see what's going on for the people who are in the group and support each other in prayer and intention. I've had other groups that I've been involved in, some of them for a very, very long time. I've had a prayer partner since, I think, 2008. And he and I get together once a week and we share stories and we talk about what's going on for you and what's going on for me. And then support each other in prayer, setting the intention. And it's half an hour, 45 minutes that we spend on the phone together. Every once in a while, we get together in person. And I've also been involved in a mastermind group. It started probably almost 20 years ago, maybe over 20 years ago. And the same small group of people gets together once a week and we say, this is what's going on in my story. And we find a way to support and be present for each other. And it's not necessarily about giving advice, although every once in a while, because I know these people's stories and they know my story, they're able to provide some perspective and insight on what's going on for me and vice versa, and be present and be supportive and do the whole thing inside the framework of our teaching. It is wonderful to have a group of people who know my story, who I don't need to explain the story again. I don't need to tell them who the cast of characters involved in my life. They know. And we can pick up where we were last week and go deeper. And to just be present with each other as our lives have unfolded and things have evolved. It is an opportunity to be fed, to be connected, to be aware of the love that there is, to allow this idea of oneness to play out in a different way. So there are formal programs that we have for classes and celebrations, and you can certainly raise your hand and get involved in a Sunday celebration. Even if you just want to come to the rehearsal, to the tech rehearsal on Sunday mornings and you don't have a job yet, just send an email to revbill@newthoughtphilly.org and come on in and see what it's all about and join the fun group that's there. The other way to do that is with membership. And New Thought Philadelphia is a membership organization. There are very few requirements for membership in the organization. Basically, a member of New Thought Philadelphia commits to support the organization in a meaningful way, and that includes financially. There's not a dollar amount. There's not a cost that's attached to this. There is not a particular requirement. It's all about resonating, sharing energy with the group, becoming a part of this, participating in that oneness, and our awareness of the principles and the power of this creative process. And we're going to have a welcome for new members in the month of August. We're going to invite folks in, get together on a Sunday after the celebration, and then a week after that, we're going to have a little ceremony during the celebration. Things have changed since the COVID lockdown, because we used to do these in person. We would get together and everybody would stand in a circle or in a line and light candles. And we have a lot of people who are all over the world, not necessarily even in the same country. And to open to that possibility, we're inviting members in from everywhere. So there will be more information in the newsletter coming out this week about how you can raise your hand and say that you want to do that. And join your energy. And as I'm looking around at the group here, a lot of you are already members. Some of you can remember when you joined as members, and some of you may say, am I a member? Am I a member of this organization? Might have happened a long time ago. But the first step in becoming a member is to say, this is where I belong. This is where I am feeling fed, and this is where I want to continue feeling fed, and I may do that by feeding others. The first step is to raise your hand and say yes. And oh, by the way, that's not just for becoming a member or getting involved in this being fed. That's the way everything works. It starts with yes. So what is it that you're raising your hand to? What is that yes that you want to commit and offer up today or this week? What is that yes that goes beyond all the limitations and challenges that you've had before? What is the bold new yes that you're willing to offer up to invite in something spectacular? If you're feeling intimidated by that, then maybe you can get over it. You don't have to do something that's daring or different or hard. You can do something that is a new way for love to come into the world. And that can be as simple as breathing out. So whatever it is that you're doing this week, whatever it is that you're saying yes to, however your hand is going up, allow yourself to be fed and participate in the process. Make another turn through the spiral and invite in something spectacular. Because you deserve all of that good. And that is the truth. So it is.
Thank you, Jeff. That beautiful song, that beautiful music. And thank you, Rev, for that talk. Preparation, cultivation, to be fed. We are fed in this morning. So get comfortable in your seat, wherever you at. Not so much the words that I'm gonna say. Look behind the words and the essence. The words are just words. But take them at the first person. Embody them. Embrace them. See what spirit brings. So as you're sitting down firmly with your feet on the ground or on the air, whichever way you're comfortable, we are all unique expression of divinity. Taking a deep breath in through your lungs. Let it go. Be like that lad that brought the fishes and a couple of loaves of bread to the Christ within. Have that childlike faith. See what the Christ would do. Maybe it'll seem like much to us, what we're doing in this journey. But when we lay our food, our words in the feet of that Christ within, like they say around, miracles will happen. Everything will be multiplied. And that lad was looking at the Christ with enthusiasm, with joy and expectation. And when we have that expectation of the Christ within, the manifestation and the fruit of our labor will be multiplied in words, in deeds that we will never imagine. Like they say, eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard, or they come into the heart of man. It's all the good and the abundance that God has created. And in this thing called you, these words might surprise you. God is nothing. God is nothing. It's not a thing to be grasped or hold or control or even use. We don't use God. It's not a thing to be used. God uses us. We are that instrument, the channel, with divine mind will illumine our mind. Walk in clarity and transparency. That's why they say the 5 symbols of water, fire, wind, oil, and the dogs. Water is clarity. The water of transformation is the fire that burns all discord, It's the wind that we cannot see, but we feel the presence of divinity in us. It's the oil that anoints us to keep getting up every morning with thanksgiving. And it's that dove of peace that is in our life. What is man that you are mindful of him? Or the daughter of man that you remember her? You create us in your image and likeness and crown us with glory and honor. It was that glory that we had with you before the foundation of the earth. That is not a thing. It's a presence, source that runs in us, through us, around us, as us. It is us. God is here right now in every space and time at the same time. The fullness of God is in every inch. If I go to the stars, he's there. Or to the core of the earth, which is as hot as the sun, he's there. But where can we go from his presence? Where can we hide from his spirit? We live and move and have our being in the everlasting arms of the Most Highest. In the arms, in the hands of God, all the galaxy lives. Everything is there. We live in him. He lives in us. He's always knocking at the door. We open the door and he will sup with us and we will sup with him. We will be fed for eternity. Never thirst. No need, because he has supplied all our needs according to the abundance, and the abundance is infinite. So as we go into the silence together, think about the best meal you have. Think about being fed here right now and sharing your food. Whoever comes near you with love and gratitude and peace and joy and unity and freedom, share that wisdom that you receive here and now.
Nothing's too small. Nothing's too big. All fits together. into one beautiful oneness, one whole. Even the changing of the calendar uses a spiral. We're part of that spiral. And we have the choice to be part of the creative process or subject to that creative process. Consider that choice. Say yes to the good. However you see it, find it, define it. For all of the lessons, all of the insights, all of the good that we come away from this process with, I'm grateful. Gratitude is the basis. So bring your attention back to the room. Move your shoulders, move your body in some way. Reconnect with your surroundings. When you're ready, open your eyes. And Jeff will play us another song.
We call them cool, those hearts who have no scars to show, the ones who never do let go and risk the tables being turned. We call them fools who have to dance within the flame, who chance the sorrow and the shame that always comes from being burned. But you got to be strong when consumed with desire, 'cause it's not enough just to stand outside the fire. We call them strong, those who face the world alone, who seem to get by on their own, those who will never take the fall. We call them weak, who are unable to resist the slightest chance love might exist, and for that forsake it all. They're so hell-bent on giving, walking a wire, convinced it's not living if you stand outside the fire. Standing outside the fire, standing outside the fire. Life is not tried, it is merely survived if you're standing outside the fire. There's a love that is burning deep in my soul, constantly yearning, out of control, wanting to fly higher and higher. I can't abide standing outside the fire. Standing outside the fire, standing outside the fire. Life is not tried, it is merely survived if you're standing outside the fire. Standing outside the fire, standing outside the fire. Life is not tried, it is merely survived if you're standing outside the fire.
That was awesome. That was beautiful. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. It is the part of our program where we get to give voice to whatever might have come up for what's going on. So is there something that this thing called you you'd like to share? Go ahead and wave your hand or use the reaction button and get a chance to give voice to it. Jane.
So, you were talking about, connecting in small groups, and then you were talking about, a prayer partner that you have for a long time now, like a weekly prayer partner. I don't know. I'm just putting this out there, and it just kind of made me it triggered something about how there was one of the classes that we were doing. I'm not sure if it was like a practitioner class, prac 1 year, or it could have been something else, but we had prayer partners, and it was really nice. And I thought, as a collective group, that's just something that percolated. Like, if that could become a small group if people match themselves up or want a prayer partner in the community. Sometimes that's nice. I mean, we connect on Sundays, but I've made some really great connections through classes and through some of the smaller groups, and it's really nice. I don't know, just something that popped up in my head. So I just thought I'd share that.
Thank you. I love that. I love that. And one of the things that we can like be really organized and create a program and a process and all the rest of that, or we can be completely organic. Say, raise your hand, say yes. So if that's something that you're interested in, then just give voice to it. And I mean, I'm not going to do the whole talk again, but there's one infinite intelligence that knows how to do this. So take the step. Thank you, Jane. Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah.
All right. So two things came up for me. So just this week, somebody did ask me, my religious practice. And I went into, what you just said, like, do I want to answer this? Like, do I want to answer this question with this person? And I did. And then I just pretty much answered it. At first, I did say, like, it's kind of complex. But after I sent the text message, I said, actually, it's not. It's very simple. Just how I just described it, because, I just said, we believe in the one, that divine source, and we honor other people in their path and whichever path that they take. And we respect that, and we learn from them, and we share. And then when I said it, I'm like, oh, it's just that simple. Because I was really sitting there trying to think, and I'm thinking, like, what did Reverend Bill say? What should I say? But it came to my heart, and then I texted. And then this individual actually went and looked it up. And they were like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Can we talk more about it later? So we're going to lunch later this week. And they just asked and said they wanted to talk about it. So that was one thing. And then another thing, when you were saying sometimes people feel like they're not being fed, and it's like repetitive lessons. So I have learned over time, because I read, a lot of books, and then sometimes I go back to another book. And I remember one book, The Purpose Driven Life. I read that like 4 times. Is it always say partner with someone? But I realized at the end, it's like activities where you journal. And I usually journal after I read a book as well. And then when I go back and I go back again, I realized like each time it was something different. Like I responded differently to an actual question. And then I'm thinking, like, what was I thinking at that time? Or what was going on in my life at that time? So things that we learn like over and over again, for people who feel as though it's repetitive during that time or moment in your life, or whatever you may be going through or not going through, I think the response is different. So we always need that. It's different each time, although it may be the same, but it's different depending on what you're actually going through or what you're feeling like at that time. So I realized that through journaling. So journaling is helpful for anyone, that maybe feel like things are repetitive.
Beautiful. Thank you, Nia. Yeah, that's so true, is that if we pick up this simple, delightful little book, this thing called You, and we expect that we're going to get the same thing out of it this time we got last time, then it's possible there's going to be much less richness than we say, well, what does this mean for me today? And open up to a new possibility and dive in and do that. And yeah, journaling can remind us, oh, I've had these observations before, but these are brand new. Because yeah, the book, this thing called You, that's not changing, but I'm changing. And every time I read it, I'm changing. So thank you. Thank you for that. What else? Well, in that case, let us roll out the red carpet for Karen to lead us in our offering.
New Thought Philadelphia is all about spreading the love. Our community is supported by your contributions. The gift you help shares fund our work in the world, and the way you shine your light spreads the love. We are grateful for every way you share. We don't have a basket today, but there's a donate button on the website to make a donation by credit card, PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. You can also make a check to our office in Ardmore. The offering affirmation is on the screen. We'll say the affirmation together. I live in an abundant universe.
I am
I am
one.
one
I am
with the
one
infinite
with the
source of
infinite
all
source
good.
of all
Source
good.
above
I
all.
am a center
center
of
Of conscious
prosperity.
I
I
enjoy the
Enjoy the
richness of life.
richness of life.
I bless
I
my
bless
gift.
my gift.
I
I
share my
share
gift
my
with
gift
gratitude and joy.
I
I
know
know that as I give, I receive.
And
So it is.
And
so it is.
So it is.
So it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you all so very much. Just a heads up, you'll be getting some more notice on this. August 25th is going to be the new member Sunday. We're doing that during the celebration. There will be a reception the Saturday preceding that on the 18th, where you get together with the other new members. Like I say, more detail coming up that way. Thank you all so much. And I'm looking at the title of the next song, and thank you, Jeff Lesser. This one's from when I was in college.
Full circle. I sing the body electric. I celebrate the me yet to come. I toast to my own reunion when I become one with the sun. And I'll look back on Venus, I'll look back on Mars, and I'll burn with a fire of 10 million stars. And in time, we will all be stars. I sing the body electric, like glory in the glow of rebirth, creating my own tomorrow, when I shall embody the earth. And I'll serenade Venus, I'll serenade Mars, and I'll burn with a fire of 10 million stars. And in time, we will all be stars. We are the emperors now, and we are the czars. And in time, we will all be stars.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody who has taken part in the celebration today. Breen running the technology, and Joe and Jesus with the praying and so forth. Everybody who's doing the readings, the announcements, and everything else. What a blessing to be in community with you guys, to be uplifted in such a wonderful way. Let us close with another cacophony, which I just love doing. Go ahead and unmute your microphone and repeat after me. I'm in the right place.
I'm in the right place.
At the right time.
At the right time.
Love is right here.
Love is right here.
Love is right now.
Love is right now.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Woohoo! Thank you. Nia,